Hello everybody, and now welcome to Gunnersbury Park Sports Hub. It's the clash in the capital. It's the Women's Premier Handball League, and it is West London Eagles taking on London GD. As you can see, we're right in the heart of the mix, and I'm delighted to be joined on co-coms today by Jack Oliphant, former Handball GB junior player. Jack, what's it like being here? It's nice to be back, is it?
Yeah, it's a bit of a throwback for me, to be honest. It's been a couple of years since I've been involved in handball as a whole, and it's been a long time since I've been involved in any kind of elite sport like we're seeing here. So yeah, it should be a good game, and of course we've got the men's game after this as well in the next broadcast. So yeah, it's going to be a great day. It's
going to be a cracker. The women get underway at 2:30. So what, we've literally got 7 or 8 minutes or so. As you can see, they're just getting practice. We're going to head up very shortly. Before we do, we can actually grab the West London Eagles women's head coach, Paul Dempsey, over here. If you come with me, I might just need to borrow the mic if that's okay. Jack, let's quickly grab Paul. Paul, keeping a sharp eye on your team, what are you expecting from today's game?
Well, my expectations are always high, but obviously they're measured because of COVID and the return from Christmas.
Yeah.
We've had quite a number of players that have just returned back from injury, so obviously that's being taken into consideration as well. Also, we have a strong rivalry against this team, GD.
Yeah. I feel this the clash in the capital.
Yeah, it's one of the clashes of the capital. It's been very competitive for decades, so it's something that's been going on for a long time. But as I say, my expectations are always set fairly high with my team,
yeah.
And we'll just do our very best to get a good outcome to the situation.
Fantastic. Best of luck, Paul. Thanks for talking to us. Right, we're going to make our way up to the commentary box. I'll give you that back. There you go.
Thank you very much.
Not quite conscious. We better get out of here because I feel like we're about to get a ball in the face.
We're in the firing line, yeah.
Whilst we do that, whilst we make our way back up, if you've never ever watched handball before, we've got a little video to show you from the England Handball Association. What is handball? Well, here, this video is going to explain everything. Roll VT.
Handball was really good fun. It's a little bit like netball and basketball, however with less restrictions, so you can really go for it. As it's so similar to a number of different sports, I found it really easy to get started with. And it's something I'm surprised they don't play more in the UK. You can't go inside the D, so your defence will form a ring around the edge. Therefore, the attack will be passing the ball backwards and forwards between them and looking to open up a hole in the opposition before ploughing through and scoring a goal.
Right, welcome back everybody. We've now made our way up to the commentary box. Jack Oliphant and myself, Ian Waterhouse. Ian from Live Sport now. Remember, we are broadcasting on YouTube as well. There's a link in the body of this broadcast. It takes straight through to our YouTube channel called Live Sport Now. Please do go over, subscribe. You can watch all of our live sport in 2022. Includes motorsport, golf, and of course the very best of the Premier Handball League here in the United Kingdom. Players just getting ready. It is almost time for the throw, of 5 minutes to go. Whilst we wait for that, let me just ask Jack Oliphant, former junior GB player. It's an exciting game, isn't it, Jack? It doesn't quite get enough attention, handball, there, does it?
No, it's full on, it's constant, fast-paced and pressurised as well for all the players out there. We've got two full teams tonight, which I'm very excited for, because normally in handball sometimes you do get a depleted sort of line at maybe 10, 12 players, and really if you want to play this sport in its full, you really do need 16. That's exactly what we've got from both of these clubs. It doesn't get enough exposure, like you said, Ian. It's one of those sort of sports that gets a little bit of attention every 4 years. When the Olympics comes around, it got a lot of attention in 2012, but it really hasn't sort of exploded in the way that it has in the rest of Europe.
Absolutely. Now, the Women's Premier Handball League table. Let's just have a look at how things stand. 5 teams in it. Olympia top of the table. Cambridge Angels, as you can see, in second place. West London Eagles currently in third. So it's a third versus fourth battle here in the capital. London GD in fourth. Enemy Hawks Women in fifth. Now, let's have a little look at the squad list for the West London Eagles. There they are. Let me just take that graphic down as well. So that is your squad list for the Eagles. Of course, you can appreciate there aren't names on the back of the shirts. We do actually have, very kindly, the coaches here have written down the names for us. So we'll do our absolute best Although if you look at the London GD, everybody's surname is London GD.
Yeah, it makes it easy for us to follow, doesn't it? So we can guarantee that London GD is scoring when they put the ball in the net.
Absolutely. That's the That's Eagles squad. Let's have a little look. Now there have been a few changes to the squad for London GD. That's a list of some of the, apologies, that is the list of some of the players playing there today. I know Tania Corti, the right back from Italy, she is definitely playing. It's a lot to look out for, as well as is Nicola Zibola from Poland. Now, of course, we must have a little look and say a big thank you to the officials. They are your officials today. Nicholas Lamont, your main referee. Peter Gannon, he's in charge of the scoreboard. And Alicia Martin is assisting as well. And of course, we must say, these teams, they rely on a bit of sponsorship in order to get going as well. West London Eagles want to say a big thank you to WatfordVans.com and for London GD. A couple of sponsors there, GLL Sport Foundation and Kemper as well. So the throw-off, Jack, gets underway. We are literally talking 2 minutes' time. What are you expecting from this game?
Well, the women's game, especially in the highest level, is always very fast-paced. It's always, as I've mentioned before, full-on. That's probably a phrase you'll hear me say all the time. The men's game is maybe a little bit more physical, a little bit more slower, about sort of more set plays. But the women will just run the life out of this court, and they'll run the life out of the ball as well. It's still very physical, don't get me wrong. It's a brutal sport, no matter who plays it. And I think these two rivals, especially with the league tables that they're both in, and with the lack of games they've sort of played over the past month and a half or so, I think they'll be very much interested in getting as quickly as possible into the rest of the season.
Right, there goes the buzzer. And it's almost time for the throw-off. Right, here we go. I hope you're excited. So here we go, the clash in the capital between the West London Eagles and London GD about to get underway. Funny enough, Jack, when we spoke earlier in the week, you were mentioning actually the Eagles, of course, used to be the Ruislip Eagles, didn't they? In 2016, they changed the name to West London.
Yes, they did, yes. So, yeah, well, I knew them back when I was playing sort of in the Super 8, as it was known back then, but obviously it's called the Premier League now. They were known as Ruislip, but we were just talking to Paul, and you obviously interviewed him before, but he was saying that, you know, if you're just trying to catch players and you're trying to catch their attention, if you name it after a small precinct like Ruislip, it's not got that sort of major appeal as sort of West London Eagles, where anybody from the west of the capital can basically, maybe it'll catch their attention and they can grow the club and obviously capture those, not only players but sponsors as well. And I think that's very important to be able to market this sport, and that's what we're hoping to do here today as well, getting that exposure for not only these clubs but the sport as a whole.
Absolutely, and London GD as well, actually founded in 1976 as Great Dane Handball Club, changed their name in fact it was quite recently as well, 2010, changed their name to London GD. Obviously GD still stands for Great Dane, of course, and it was actually founded by Anglo-Danish Society students, hence the reason for the Great Dane name. So here we go, teams getting ready now to get themselves motivated. This bring back memories for you, Jack?
Yes, it does actually. You sort of want to be down there and playing. However, London GT was always a fixture that sort of struck fear in your eyes as soon as you saw it coming up, because they have been so dominant recently. Well, since I've been playing, starting about 10 years ago now. So, yeah, it's going to be frantic, but it's going to be hopefully highly competitive. What we want is a nice close game. And by the looks of the statistics, the women's game especially, it should be exactly that. Absolutely.
Now the women as well, the London Eagles, they have quite the roll of honour. 23 times national champions, 24 times national cup winners. It's pretty impressive going, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not easy to do that, as the players now come out, give a clap and a round of applause to the spectators. You might be able to hear them through our microphone, actually. Obviously, give their respect to not only the opposition players, but the referees as well. Very important, obviously, to have the referees on your side. You don't want to be making enemies in any sport, do you, with the officiates?
No, we certainly don't. You certainly don't want to do that. We must mention as well, London GD women's first team, 6 times champions, most recently in English League in 2018. So there's high calibre on the court today, isn't there?
There absolutely is, yeah. As I mentioned before, you're going to be looking at a competitive game, and they're sort of rivaling for that 3rd and 4th spot, I believe. So it's going to be very close, everything on the line here. Obviously, Olympia, also based in the capital, are pretty much dominating the league at the moment.
For both men's and women's, actually, aren't they?
Exactly, they're doing really well, and they've sort of pushed past GD, where they used to be potentially the big dogs to try and catch. Maybe Olympia have started pulling their punches a little bit more, and these guys are having to fight for a little bit of scraps. But that's okay, because you fight for anything in sport, don't you?
You certainly do, Jack, you certainly do. Now, I'm very, very excited for this. Yes, we are live here at Gunnersbury Park Sports Hub here in West London. It is the Eagles taking on London GD. It is the Women's Premier Handball League, live and exclusive for you as well. Remember, you can watch all of our live sport on our YouTube channel. There's a link in the body of this broadcast. It'll take you through to live sport now. Do make sure you hit subscribe and watch live golf for free in 2022. Here we go. It's time for the throw-off. Here we go. So it is the Eagles to get things underway, and finally the action. Here we go. So of course you must attack, mustn't you? You must attack, and it must be a positive movement as well.
Yeah, exactly. If this is your first time catching handball, then you'll probably be forgiven for thinking it looks a little bit basketball-y out there. But unlike basketball with a shot clock, in handball, there we go. There's a penalty straight away. Now, the reason why it's a penalty, the player was attacking, the defender was in the area when making the tackle. And if the defender is in the area, inside that orange 6-metre zone, then it's an automatic penalty. And Alicia Martin giving clear signals and showing the penalty now.
So here we go, penalty to the Eagles. Oh, it's a
great save.
Save, but she's straight in again. And there we go, 1-0 to the Eagles.
Yeah, exactly that, a fantastic penalty. Great save as well, it has to be said, but sometimes you just get lucky, don't you? It's the first minute of the game. I'm sure GD won't feel too badly about that. There is normally 60 goals in a 60-minute game of handball. You're looking at a 30 all average if you're looking at the top leagues in Europe. It might be a bit different here today, but normally goals per game, both of these teams scoring about 24. Is a big tackle there.
Oh, there is, isn't there?
And a little bit of a knock to the ear as well for one of the players.
Yeah. So I'm going to be busy on these scoreboard graphics. Is that what you're saying, Jack, throughout this game?
Absolutely, yeah. You're going to be changing them constantly, I imagine.
So London GD on the attack, trying to find the gap. Finds it.
Really good step there. Through the heart of the Rice-Lip defence as well, which obviously they won't be too amused about. You really need to sort of tighten up in that middle of the park, try and make sure that you're not allowing anybody through, because that's the easiest place to score if you do get through as a player. And there you can see the GD defence, 3 players swarming around 1, just to stop them going through the centre.
We've seen 2 attacks so far and 2 goals. I know what you mean. It is exciting stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. I think the next time we're covering this, you'll probably be wanting someone else to operate the scoreboard for you, because it's going to be constant. Great step there by the number 6, and a great goal as well. There'd have been potentially a foul there on the wing, but a great diving goal from the number 6 on the left wing there, going into the left-back defence on what looks like a slightly aggressive 6-0. Now, we will explain the formations, the defensive formations and the tactics throughout this broadcast. And
you
the
will,
men's.
Jack. I'm not so sure I will, but you will.
But of course, it's difficult to keep up with the game as it is, let alone try and describe all the formations.
So 4th attack of the game so far. We're going to see a 4th goal. It's a throw and it's a good save. And the Eagles take possession. Here we go. Good movement here. Oh, and it's a change of hands. Here we go. So the game's starting to open up a little bit more now, Jack, isn't it?
Yeah, you're starting to see the sort of fast break nature of handball, to be honest. A lot of quick possession, turnover, and getting up the court as quickly as you possibly can as well. We're just slowing it down here. This is sort of what we call a set play or phase 2. And straight through the middle of the park again is the number 7 of GD, and that's twice they've gone through the centre, which, as I said, is the worst place for I was going to say Rice-Lip then. I'm going to say that throughout the entire day.
You can say
the worst place
for
West London Eagles to let these
you
guys
can
through.
explain it to Paul after why you kept calling it Rice-Lip.
He won't be very impressed with me, will he? But yeah, great play from GD, but that Rice-Lip defence needs to tighten up. Strong defence there again by GD, trying to knock that ball out, and there we go. We can start to see the physical nature of handball coming to the
front.
front.
I thought it would be. You're right. Yes, look at that. That is really pulled her away there.
Yeah, so I go into schools quite a lot, and they always say how much contact is allowed, and really it's up to the referee and what they deem safe. And for the first time, West London Eagles charged through the centre of the GD defence and managed to get that goal on the board as well. 3-2. Oars travel there, so that's a technical error there by the 17 of GD, and the fast break is on straight up to the 11.
Look at this, what an attack, what a counter-attack, and it's 4-2. Wow, incredible stuff.
And all of a sudden, a 2-goal lead is amounted for West London Eagles. Exactly what they'd have been hoping for in the league table as well that we mentioned earlier. It is, of course, worth noting West London Eagles are ahead of GD, but they've played one game less.
Yes.
So the Eagles are very much hoping to, basically it's a 6-pointer that we've got going on here.
We're into sort of the second half, starters coming to the second half of the season now as well, aren't we? Sort of split in two. First game back after the Christmas break, and I can tell you something here, there's no lethargic or anything here, is there? There's no too much turkey at Christmas, I don't think so here. It is intense, it is so fast paced. Oh, and it sneaked through.
It's a great windmill there, to be fair, by the left back, the number 33 of Great Dane. Just made the defender sort of step back on her heels. All of a sudden she's past them, using that physical prowess as well to go all the way through. Good defence there by GD. It's an aggressive 3-3 defence by the GD players at the moment. That means there's 3 players sitting back on the 6 metres, 3 players up on the 9 metres, being very aggressive on the West London Eagles players. And there we go, that's what it can create, a forced pass into the line from an incoming winger. And that means all of a sudden, just that heart of the defence, the GD players can just swarm on it and try and get the ball back.
You are listening to the voice of Jack Oliphant, former Handball GB junior player.
Oh!
Good God, could the keeper have done more there, do you think?
Yeah, pick that one out. That's exactly what you need when you're playing against an aggressive defence. You need to force them back just a couple of metres, be able to get that shot off, especially if you've got a rocket in your pocket like that player did there. Really good goal from the West London Eagles, and that makes it 5-3 to retain the 2-goal lead.
Yes, I must say we do have the team sheet here, actually, don't we? It can be quite. There's a lot of names on it. It can be quite difficult to follow.
That's why
so
you've been hiding that at the start of this game.
And look at that move in,
yeah.
Opened up. Oh, it's hit the post. Oh.
Tell you what, it's a great pass to the line player. The line player quite often has the easiest shot on the court if you manage to get it to them, because there's no player that can tackle them without it being a penalty. But unfortunately, that time just comes off the post. There we go. The referee's also allowing a little bit of advantage to be played here as well. That's that physicality. If they can get the ball to the goal, then they'll allow them to.
Fantastic. 30-minute half, of course. We are 6 minutes into the first half. 10-minute half time. We're going to obviously stay live for the entire game. And that looked like it was trying to chip into the top left-hand corner there. Not quite, though.
Yeah, that was a bit more like probably a sandwich that you're used to seeing, Ian, out on the golf course, to be honest.
Yeah.
Difficult to score from that angle from a right-handed player on the right wing. Not impossible, but it's huge.
It's
huge
incredibly
contest.
physical. Incredibly physical.
Yeah, huge contest. I remember you were speaking to me in the week, Ian, and you said you'd played a little bit of handball in high school. This will be nothing like anybody plays in high school, to be honest.
I don't remember it being this physical, and as I also said, I don't mind sharing my age. I am 36, so as you can imagine, it's been a long time since I played at school.
Yeah,
that's the reason you're here, Jack, the expert. A pleasure to have you along today as well, really guiding us and giving us that technical insight. Real pleasure to have you along today, Jack.
Well, thank you very much. I'm very much enjoying it, to be honest. I've already got a big smile on my face, and we're only 7 minutes into the first of 2 games, remember, that we got here. Long pass out to the right wing and a left-handed shot there by the number 8. Unfortunately, runs wide, and that's a big opportunity for West London Eagles to go 2 up again. Squandered, unfortunately. GD can reply now to make it level.
Now, if you are just tuning in, hello, good afternoon, welcome to Gunnersbury Park Sports Hub here. It is the Premier Handball League. It is the women's match between West London Eagles, London GD. The Eagles in the blue, London GD in the red. London GD on the attack, and it sneaked in. Does it count? It looks like it was in the D to me, but it does count. It's 5-5.
Yeah, that is a great goal, and sort of in the know. If you are in the know in handball, it's sort of what we call a little bit of a broken wrist. It looks like the wrist just falls away from you, and it tricks the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper thinks you're going to go for that far post, and that little flick just means the ball just crawls into the near post area. It's a shot that is very popular for the likes of the top level wingers, and clearly she got it in a pocket here.
We saw an early penalty, didn't we, for the Eagles? Converted that as well. We haven't had one since. 8 minutes into the first half here. Oh, it's a good save as well. Great save by the London GD keeper.
Yeah, it was, and that goal before was scored by Samira, actually. That's the number 23 for GD. You can see her trying to get involved on the line as well to try and upset the West London Eagles defence. There's a little bit of space here on the wing, but they decide to go back inside, riding the tackle well, and the pass to the line doesn't come off. And there's a foul doing so, though. Really good defence by the West London Eagles. GD starting to move the ball a bit quicker now.
If you are just tuning in, the Eagles did have actually a 2-goal lead, didn't they? It's been wiped out, and London GD with the advantage. Now, can they take the lead for the first time in this game?
Oh, we could be into something we haven't seen before here, and there's 2 minutes. The reason for that, Ian, in case anybody at home is unfamiliar with why that might be, it's also a penalty, is the player, the number 33, which yours may be looking at the name of now, the 33 had stepped her player and was able to get through basically in a shooting opportunity. Yeah,
33, Fatima Fernando there. Oh, it's gone over.
She's lost her. She's missed the goal. But when she got through on that shooting opportunity, the defender was still attacking her, not only in the area, but from the side slash behind.
Just
meaning
a little bit rusty
2-minute
there,
suspension.
do you think, Jack? A little bit rusty?
Yeah, potentially. Obviously, maybe not been practicing penalties, not just quite got that arm warmed up. She's clearly a threat, though, because she's gotten through 2 or 3 times. 2-minute suspension means the player is allowed to come back on. It's a little bit like ice hockey in that regard, but obviously the team is down for 2 minutes while West London Eagles attack. That could be really crucial. So here we go, back in play now. West London Eagles obviously with that player down, but a great turn by the number 4 and a great save by GD's keeper as well. And the fast break is on here, trying to take advantage of the lack of players, and it's straight into the top corner by the number 7 of London GD. That's Tania Corti. Great fast break from her and GD as a whole. West London Eagles find themselves behind. That 2-minute suspension seems to be hurting them.
It certainly does. For the first time in this game, London GD take the initiative. They were 2 goals down at one point, and they've managed to turn it around 10 minutes into the first half here.
And they turn it over again.
Ball. What a throw that is. It's like NFL-esque, isn't it? And just chips it over. Wonderful stuff from London GD. And now it's London GD who take a 2-goal lead.
Yeah, we've seen earlier on as well, though, that the West London Eagles, they had a 2-goal lead and it got wiped out pretty much instantly, didn't it? So
it's game on, isn't it, Jack? It is game on here.
Yeah, 10 minutes in and you're already starting to get a bit of a taste of what you can expect from Premier League handball as a whole.
Certainly are, look at that. And it's bumping all over the place.
It's that physicality, isn't it? I mean, the rule I used to get taught as a kid was it's got to be chest on chest, and you're allowed pretty much contact. And if anything, in my opinion, it's a little bit more brutal than the likes of rugby. At times, you can start to see why maybe we sort of have that opinion here in handball. The sort of more accurate way of describing it is the tackle's got to be made by the player who's in between the ball and the goal, basically.
Yeah.
And if that's not the case, then you will see suspensions being made if they're coming from behind or to the side. And that aggressive GD defence is causing more issues yet again. They're getting plenty of turnovers and fast breaks, and that's a forced pass straight to the goalkeeper.
It's a good counter-attack, isn't it? They're so quick on the break, London GD. London Eagles currently struggling to keep them at bay.
Yeah, well, that's the advantage of playing that aggressive 3-3 defensive formation that GD are playing. They can turn over the ball, or they can force West London Eagles to give it away, basically. And then they've already got 4 players halfway up the court, basically, that they can then try and fast break from.
What a manoeuvre, and what a save. Wow.
That is a great save. There's a 2-minute suspension here for a London GD player, and we'll just catch the number in a few seconds. That's because West London Eagle player went through on goal, had the shot, but it was pushed slightly from behind. A little bit of contact from the side or behind gives the penalty away.
I have to say, Jack, I am really glad you're here. It would have been quite a handful of this by myself, and it is a goal. It's converted, and it's now 6-7 in favour of London GD.
Yeah, so the player with the 2-minute suspension is Susanna. Apologies if I butcher some of these names, but I'll try and get it phonetically spelt out at half-time.
That's why I left it to you to do, Jack.
Lepenta Uranga is the player with the 2-minute suspension as well for GD. So all of a sudden, this West London Eagles attempt. There we go, forced pass, but
penalty, surely.
No, it's not a penalty. They just sort of boxed the player out, but there was no one in the penalty area, and there was no contact sort of from behind and a shooting opportunity. So not quite a penalty, but GD, this is what they sort of need to do. They need to run the clock down without giving the ball away, and forcing passes to the line, probably not the most ideal thing.
Only got 1-shot lead though, still all to play for here. We are 12.5 minutes into the first half.
There we go,
and it's a great goal, and they once again get a 2-shot lead.
Yeah, so that's number 23. It's Nicola Zamora on the left wing, really doing well, and that's a huge pass to the line and great defence from GD. There's a possibility, borderline 2-minute call there. I think maybe some of West London Eagles players and supporters probably thought maybe there was a little bit more in that, maybe a penalty, but the referees deemed it the other way round. And that may well be a penalty, and it is. The act is shooting, still contact, if anything, a little bit around the neck from the number 12 of GD.
I tell you, the referees have got a job on, haven't they? They've really got to keep their hold on this.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't want to be a referee. I've refereed plenty of handball games, but nothing at this level, because it is this fast and it is this hard.
Oh, what
great save there.
The London GD keeper, she has been on fire, hasn't she?
Yeah, that's Royer in goal for London GT. Absolutely brilliant for the penalty spot. Could have saved the first one as well, obviously, in the first minute, but unfortunately it just bounced back to them.
Yes.
So yeah, really, really good showing there by the goalkeeper of GD.
So GD on the attack now. They could, if they convert this, go to a 3-shot lead. Game's starting to open up a little bit. No way through the centre there.
There we go. So a charging foul, possession given away to West London Eagles. That's just the GD player basically running with a little bit more shoulder than, or a little bit more force than allowed. Oh, but the West London Eagles turning the ball over yet again with a bit of an unforced error. GD slowing it down now up the court. 2-goal lead, no need to rush things. Everybody's back to full strength as well. All players back on the court. As you can see there, the 17 on the right back position. It's not like football, right backs do attack too and they defend. I suppose that is like modern football these days. But
That's it is these days, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But it's sort of, we'll try and explain the formations maybe in another video if we don't get time.
Nicely.
Big defensive tackle there, exactly what London Eagles need to do. Make sure that GD is shooting from 9 metres, force them back to that 9-metre line, and they'll be struggling to get the ball in the goal, just like they did there.
So approaching the halfway stage of this first half, but it's once again intercepted, and GD on the attack. They've got numerous players, and that's it. It is, yeah, and they take a 3-shot lead. It's 6-9 in favour of GD.
Yeah, and that was 2 unforced errors in a row, one from GD, one from West London Eagles, and it resulted, obviously, in a GD goal. That's the sort of thing you need to be keeping an eye out here. All of a sudden you go from elation to disappointment in about half a second here in handball, but again, 3 goals to the good. Good fake there by 24, but we could see a charging foul here, barging the defender out the way. Referee just going over to mark where that was.
It was a good save by the keeper as well. She wasn't aware it was going to be a foul, so thought she had to make the save, and she did make the save. It looks like she might have been a little bit winded there.
Yeah, well, if you wouldn't want to be a referee in handball, you definitely wouldn't want to be a goalkeeper. They're made of different gravy, to be honest, because the balls can be thrown up to like 70 miles an hour in the Champions League. And,
wow.
Although it looks like they've obviously got a little bit of protection with their trousers and their sort of long sleeved tops, really, they have nothing. It's when a ball's getting thrown at you from 70 miles an hour from 6 metres away, it hurts just as much as if you didn't have a sleeve on, pretty much.
They need shin pads and guards and shoulder pads, doesn't it? But they don't wear them. Of course, West London Eagles, sponsored by WatfordVans.com. Big thank you to them. Do go check them out, WatfordVans.com.
Turnover there by West London Eagles, and GD trying to take advantage of the fact that West London Eagles have decided to make a substitution by going very aggressive on the defence and forcing West London Eagles into a turnover. Great defence back though from the number 2, and even though didn't get the ball back, they have stopped the fast break.
So ball in possession of GD, 3-shot lead. It's West London Eagles 6, London GD 9, and they could really start to open up a bit of a gap here if they can convert this attack.
Good fake there from the right back. It's always difficult if you're right-handed playing on that right back position. Good defence there, moving the feet, making sure the players stayed the defender side stayed in between the ball and the goal, meaning it's just a foul and nothing more.
You also need to commit a foul there, don't you, to stop them getting through. And a great save that.
Yeah.
We must stress as well, don't we? The goalkeeper can, if they put it behind them, it's not a corner, is it? It's only if it's from a defending player.
Correct, yeah. I'll explain that maybe after we see this penalty get taken by the number 23 for GD. A little bit of a fake and bounced into the bottom left corner. That's Nicola Zamora again. And as we go on a timeout, teams are allowed 3 timeouts over the course of an entire match. They're allowed 1 in the first half, 1 in the second half, and 1 floating. However, you do need to take a breath, don't you? It's hard work, handball, to keep up with, let alone commentate on. As I said, it's a bit different to golf than maybe you're used to it.
I've got a bit more time to talk about golf.
Yes.
So, what have you made so far of this first half? It's been a sensation, hasn't it? It's the Women's Premier Handball League here at, between the West London Eagles and London GD. Jack, your thoughts so far?
Yeah, it's exactly what we probably came to expect from the Women's Handball League. What I didn't expect for it to be quite so quickly, if that makes sense. You didn't expect the ferocity of the game to be picked up after nearly 2 months off. These players haven't played since the 5th of December, and if you're looking at their, or 6th of, I'm actually looking at November here. It's not the right thing. London GD actually played Hawks on the 5th of December. West London Eagles haven't played since the 6th of November, so they've had a fair old time off. And GD haven't, well, on the 5th of December, they'd actually lost to North East Manchester Hawks women's team as well. West London Eagles haven't played since the 6th, where they beat Cambridge Angels. So a lot of time off for these players, and over Christmas that can work against you because you're maybe putting losing a little bit of fitness basically, and not quite as sharp. But these guys straight on it from the off.
Absolutely, absolutely. Welcome back. Here we go. 17 and a half minutes into this first half. It's the clash in the capital. It's the Women's Premier Handball League to West London Eagles, London GD. It is West London Eagles 6, London GD 10. And the game is starting to open up a little bit. And once again, GD on the counter-attack. They've mastered this so far, haven't they? Although a slight drop in possession there.
Yeah, that was just a bit of a, I wouldn't say miscommunication, but just a bit of an error in reading each other's movements. And that'll be training and that'll be game experience. Good pass over to the 19, who dispatches the right-handed right wing shot into that bottom left corner. A very difficult skill to do, but fantastically executed there by the number 19, Erica Rexka. And straight back on it. London Eagles are now within 3 still, but like we've seen in handball, that can be whittled away instantly.
Well, nobody ever tends to run away with games, do they? Having said that, of course, London GD women, 7th of November when they played Olympia, it was 21-30 to Olympia. So, yeah, the scores can be quite something, can't they?
Yeah, and what we've just seen there by the number 19, who obviously dispatched that goal earlier on, actually is a perfect handball tackle as well. If you want to teach your kids how to tackle in handball, that's exactly what you want to be watching. That sort of highlight, great spin there by the number 3, dispatching the ball off to the right back, the right wing, who didn't seem to be that much of a threat so far, has turned it over, and a good pass over, an even better pass. And there's a foul.
I'll tell you something, I find myself getting very excited about this. It's so exciting, it's so thrilling. Why do we not see more of handball?
It's a great question, and one, honestly, I couldn't tell you, to be honest. We get a lot of people ask us that, and it's big abroad, it's big over
it's huge, yeah.
Eastern European and Scandinavia and all these sort of places. And no one can really understand why it's not hit big enough here.
Oh, I thought she was going to give it. I thought she was going to pass it to number 10. Might have been the move to do, but they retain possession, London GD. And we have just over 10 minutes of this first half left.
Big tackle there by Anna Meyer. The right back, but that's a great run through, and there's a penalty. That was a touch of the arm, the shooting arm, as the number 3 of GD was running through. That's why the penalty has been given. Fouled in the act of shooting, essentially. A bit of complaints from the sideline. It wouldn't be a handball match without a little bit of complaints maybe to the referees. That's sort of a usual thing, but actually it's a lot more respectful in handball than a lot of other sports.
Oh, another penalty converted by London GD. Number 23, that's the second back-to-back penalties converted for her.
It is indeed, actually, yes. Taken over potentially. That was Zamura again, like you mentioned, really efficient with those penalties so far. GD missed 1 or 2 early on, but seems to have got their rhythm in. And a forced pass to the incoming line player. Oh my days, off the crossbar.
VAR.
Where's the goal line technology when you need it? Off the crossbar, off the post and into the goalkeeper's grateful hands there. And like you said, that intensity from the right wing. West London Eagles, they forced the pass out to that right wing. They're obviously a player down at the moment. It didn't come off, and then it sort of bounced to them. So that's, if you're lucky, you're lucky. And that could be another issue. Oh, there was a goal, but I think there was travel with a foul.
Yeah, so it doesn't count. Now, if you've got a question or a comment at any time, do comment below. We can see the comments, get your support in as well. We have had a few people comment. Effie Perry says, let's go GD. Get your comments in. It's another goal, as I say that as well, to London GD. So do get your messages of support in for both teams. We can see them. We will read them out.
Yeah, and plus we've got half-time coming soon as well in 10 minutes. We'll try and rinse through some questions then and obviously recap what we've seen, which will be a hard job because we've seen a lot so far. Over to that right wing. Always difficult without a left-hander at the right wing, and you can probably start to see why. The logistics of actually trying to lean over and take that shot is difficult, but it's something that the number 19 of West London Eagles, Erica Rexka, seems to be rather proficient at, and that is really keeping them in it with a player down here. A timeout seems to be called.
So 4 in it then between the Eagles and London GDs. Second time out of the half is called. It is West London Eagles 8, London GD 12. The intensity is like something I've never quite seen before. Even in football you don't quite often see it like this. Certainly if you support certain teams, which I won't say of course.
I was going to say, I mean, even on the gantry here where we're based, obviously we've got all the supporters and spectators, and of course the men's game is running straight after the women's game, so we've got quite a lot of people up here watching, supporting, giving a great atmosphere, and giving something for us to feed off as well. Absolutely. All of a sudden you get thrown into this here.
Absolutely, we hope you're enjoying it as well. Please do comment below. We can see the comments said before. At 4:30 we'll be bringing you the men's game as well. Yes, the Premier Handball League clash between West London Eagles and London GD in the men's league. Eagles looking to get themselves off the bottom of the table in the men's league, but we'll come to that a little bit later. And it's almost time for the first half to continue here at Gunnersbury Park Sports Hub.
So timeout.
1 minute timeout completed. That's the second timeout. 21 minutes into this first half.
The ball is played exactly where the timeout was called from. You can only call a timeout if your team has the ball. So
interesting.
So GD called that timeout. Then the coach has their air horn. Essentially, they can call a timeout when his player has the ball. Essentially, if West London Eagles had the ball, and GD cannot take a timeout. So yeah, a bit of a niche rule there for you. Probably not something that you really need to know, but equally it's there for you.
I tell you something. It's always good to know. It's always good to know this stuff. And GD on the attack again, looking to take a 5-shot lead if they can convert, and it just knocks it out.
Yeah, so West London Eagle playing actually protesting that they didn't move, but it's the referee's opinion that the West London Eagles player moved across.
Oh, we've got a yellow card over there as well.
Yeah, that's for the coach actually, by the looks of it. The player's already been given 2 minutes for moving across while GD player was taking a shot. That's why it's a penalty.
And we're looking for a third penalty convert in a row for number 23 for London GD here. She's been trying to trick quite a bit, hasn't she? And it's saved, But they retain possession, but they're going to lose it now.
Great penalty save. And something that Eagles needed desperately, I would say, as well. 4 down, it would be hard to come back from 5, even though there's obviously an entire half of handball to play.
Anything's possible, isn't it, from what I've seen so far. 22 minutes into this first half. Oh, look at that. No way through the middle there at all. Great defending by London GD. Because London GD will go ahead of West London Eagles in the table if they win here. But the Eagles, of course, are above them with a game in hand as well, as you said earlier.
Yeah, and they've just changed their defence and set up GD at the moment. It seems to be working for them. So it looks like there's a little good pace in the attack here, but not enough to get through. West London Eagles obviously a player down. That's a great no-look pass to the line, and that's a fantastic finish as well. A great assist, a brilliant finish. Not even needing the player down really to try and exploit those gaps. It was just a fantastic assist into the line, and it means that they are now 5 goals up.
So we've still got quite a way to go. Still second half to go in 7 minutes of this first half. But what are you thinking, Jack? Has the die been cast really for the Eagles? Still time to get back in it though.
Yeah, they seem to have had probably 1 or 2 too many suspensions, although this could be a fantastic break, but it's an even better save by the GD keeper, who's having a brilliant game, by the way.
Hasn't she just? My word, she's been on fire so far. We did actually catch up with Paul Dempsey, the Eagles head coach, just before the throw-off, didn't we, as well? And he was very optimistic ahead of this game. I think he might have a few things to say at half-time, though.
Yeah, well, as I said, it's that sort of discipline that's letting them down a little bit here. They've had too long with only 5 outfield players on the court. Another look pass, and the line player wide open, and that's where they're exploiting these gaps here and that's number 20 of Francesca Graham for GD. Good goals for her, back-to-back on back-to-back attacks, essentially. All of a sudden, you're looking at a 6-goal lead. It's not beyond the wit of man, but it is going to be difficult to come back from. Centre player then for West London Eagles, just trying to calm things down, call a play. They're back up to full strength squad now, and you'll see if they hold up their names. I'll just tell you in a second. As they force that to the wing, and again the number 19.
The angle's so tight there, though, isn't it? It's really difficult to score from there.
It is, and it didn't look like she quite opened the angle up enough that she could have done as well. But you'll see the centre players, they act almost like centre midfielders in football, or centres and netball and things like that, where they sort of control the play. But in handball, because the players are so close to each other, you can call plays. You can hold up your hand, the number 3, the number 5, and that'll initiate different movements. You've seen it here. So although it's a very fast game, handball, with the fast breaks and the intensity, it can be slowed down and be a very precise technical game as well.
Oh, it's a slip up there. Play passes to the Eagles. They've got to score. They've got to convert here, really, if they want to stay in this, and they do.
Yeah, so I said it was a very technical and very precise game. We see instantly a technical fault given away the ball there, unfortunately. An unforced error even, giving away the ball, which is a bit of a shame for GD, but equally, they've still got a big gap. They just need to calm this down to get to the half-time with this gap intact. Great windmill there by the 26 of GD, but then trying to force a pass. There's Razanet there, who's playing now at left back. So the same move, look.
Goals bench. Oh, and it's another goal for London GD. It's 15-9.
Yeah, big shot from the 9 metres then. West London Eagles looking to go on that fast break, catching out the other players, forcing the ball to that right wing again, and it's a goal again.
Wow. I almost didn't have time to type the scoring.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard work, this one. Erica Rexka not worrying about that goal that shot that she missed about 3 minutes ago, putting that one in the near post in the back of the net. So you can see the centre for GD just maybe saying, giving instructions to her players. Here we go for another move now. And it's a great step, but it's trouble by 26. She needed to take that bounce. That's Brazanet. As I said, 3.5 minutes to go. Paul on the sideline, giving that hurry up to his team to try and force the goal to come before half-time.
The chant of Eagles going around Gunnersbury Park Sports Hub here. They still believe there's only 5 points in it. And we have, 3 minutes left of this first half. It's the Women's Premier Handball League clash. It's the clash in the capital. It's the London Eagles against London GD.
Not sure why there was a turnover there. Unfortunately, there's 1 or 2 of the spectators in my line of vision there, going to that right wing. But
it's nice to see a lot of spectators up here, though.
I'd rather have a blocked view and lots of spectators than no spectators, of course.
We can watch it here if you want. I've got it on the screen in front of me.
Got your nice little screen. There's a right back charges through. There's a goal as well. And I think there would have been a foul, but the goal going in means the advantage is played pretty much.
It's a 6-shot lead, Jack. It is difficult to come back from.
It is, and obviously Eagles are trying everything they can to try and whittle the gap down before they get to half-time. About 2 minutes to go. Oh, there's an unforced error there. That's not going to help them in the slightest. But a good recovery by the line player of 11 there. There's gaps on the left wing, but they don't force the ball out there just yet. Aggressive defence. Retzka off the
They've
post.
tried numerous times there, the Eagles, to score from that tight angle, and they've failed every single time. They've got to change tactic, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, Retzka has scored a fair few, but I think it looks like GD have noticed, obviously, if you've got a right hand or a right wing, you're going to let them shoot. That's the hardest shot on the court. And if you don't have a left-hander on that side, then that's your best bet of the goalkeeper saving it or them hitting the post. Ball going to left back, and it's a great save. They needed that, Eagles, because they left too much space open for a charging 23. And again, going to that right wing. Can they move the ball? A little bit loose, but it's worked out for them. Left wing's on.
Oh.
And it's another good save, but they recover the ball.
Scooped up by number 4 there, though, for the Eagles. But again, trying to score from a tight angle.
Yeah,
and we've got an injury here. We do have an injury to number 4 for the West London Eagles.
Yeah, it's Maddie Edwards. Hopefully everything is all right. Looks like she's maybe holding her ankle just a touch, but obviously...
so we've got 28 minutes, 38 seconds on the clock. First half is drawing to a close. It is West London Eagles 10, London GD 16. In your experience, has this been quite a relatively high-scoring game, Jack?
I would say so. As I mentioned, you're talking about, over the course of a match, having about 60 goals. We have 26, so we're nearly at that sort of halfway mark. Yeah, that you would come to expect. And if you watch the Champions League, or if you watch the EHF European Championships, there we go, I've got that in the end, that you would be expecting this kind of scoreline. But it's a great move from that right wing into a second line. And the number 7 for West London Eagles, Maria Laura Seri gets that goal, and again taking GD by surprise with that second line player.
Yes, excellent stuff. In fact, we're into the last minute of the first half now. 29 minutes and 18 seconds on the clock. Is there time for another London GD goal? It's 11-16 in favour of GD.
Great defence there by the Eagles. Again, they just need to keep this 30 seconds tight, but they haven't done so. And it's a goal by GD, and that's for the number 20, Francesca Graham, yet again. I think that's her 3rd goal this half, as Eagles try and get it underway. 15 seconds to go. They seem to have forced the gap open with a foul. Play the ball quickly.
They've got to get a goal here, haven't they, really?
You'd be hoping for, but that's the last thing they need. And as the players run up the pitch with 3 seconds left, the ball goes in and the buzzer goes off. So that is half-time. The goal stands, meaning it's 11-18 to GD.
Wow, indeed, exciting stuff. I've really enjoyed that so far. It is half-time here at Gunnersbury Park Sports Hub. The players are going to make their way down now. And what is Paul Dempsey going to say, the West London Eagles head coach? What's he going to say to his team, Jack?
Well, I think what they're going to have to do is maybe stamp out some of that... they're getting those 2 minutes. They're getting too many 2 minutes. They're having to play a large period of the game with a player down. And although Paul is actually having a word with the referees here, I don't think really anything can be done about the first half and the indiscretions that they've been making. Because, from my opinion, up here, it looks like they are sort of... They've either guaranteed 2 minutes or sort of borderline 2 minutes. And it's up to the referee's discretion, of course, at the end of the game.
Yeah.
I think they need to stamp that out. And at the end, the last 5 minutes, you just felt like maybe they were forcing the play a little bit too much, and they weren't really controlling proceedings and thinking about the next 30 minutes, which, of course, they've got to go to now.
No, I've been incredibly impressed with that. The intensity is something I perhaps wasn't quite expecting at this level. I was told beforehand by the scorer, Peter Gannon, he said it's, the ladies' game is going to be very quick. Yeah. The men's game is going to be very physical. Well, that was both.
I was going to say, I think, obviously, the men a little bit bigger, don't move as quickly on their feet. But the women, the speed of the ball that is played is quite incredible at times, and we've seen that. And the aggressive 3-3 nature from GD right at the beginning as well. 3-3 is an incredibly demanding and difficult defence to actually pull off at the best of times, let alone when you've had a month and a half off.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, look, we're seeing quite interesting. London GD obviously staying on the court there. West London Eagles have disappeared, haven't they, into the changing rooms. And, yeah, certainly Eagles head coach Paul Dempsey has got a bit more work to do, I think, as opposed to the GD head coach. Yeah,
I think maybe some teams like to stay out on the court, some teams like to go back to the changing room. But to be honest, a lot of the time, this seems to be a little bit more of a quieter complex. But a lot of the time, the changing rooms are joined with changing rooms for people for the gym and things like that in sports complexes. So you go into it and you get strangers listening in, and it's a bit awkward. Whereas if you stay on the court, it can feel weirdly a little bit more together, and everybody can hear you coach. So it's just preference. But as you said, Paul Walsh maybe just feels like this is their home game. They want to get in, discuss those tactics, and just make sure they're not overheard, I suppose, more than anything else.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Of course, second half coming up for you as well. It's a 10-minute half time here at Gunnersbury Park Sports Hub. What a game it has been so far. It is London GD currently in control. We hope you enjoyed it so far. As we said before, do get your comments in. We can see them. Get your messages of support in for the teams. I hope you've enjoyed watching live the Women's Premier Handball League. It is the Elite League. It's the top flight of handball in the UK. And so where does handball go from here, really, Jack? 'Cause it's been around a long time, hasn't it? But we were just talking about the European Championships. GB just doesn't seem to have a team good enough.
Yeah, that's the golden question, really. And if I had the answer, I'd probably be running it, unfortunately. But,
well, now's your chance to pitch for the job.
Exactly. 26 CEO, I wouldn't mind that. No, I think it's difficult for handball. Unfortunately, well, London 2012 really boomed handball. Obviously GB were given a space in the Olympics, whereas normally we wouldn't have the standard of the team to qualify for the Olympics. I don't think anybody's under the illusion that we would have the standard of the team to qualify in a major championship at the moment. Who's to say it won't happen in the future? But at the moment, it doesn't happen. And unfortunately, straight after 2012, we saw a massive loss of funding, as many other sports did, to be fair. I think basketball was another sort of famous one. And that just meant that we couldn't really push on with all the extra interest that handball had gained and all the extra traction that we had. And ever since then, it's sort of been a long battle to try and gain those funds and put the things in place to actually get the grassroots level of the game more popular before we really push the elite level. So you'll see, if you look at the participation figures, you'll probably see a lot of grassroots players in high schools and primary schools and stuff. And you hope that in 5 years' time, the top level, the Premier League handball, flourishes because of that investment in the youth.
Absolutely, absolutely. If you are watching this and want to find out more about handball, do obviously go check out the England Handball Association. It's well worth a look. In fact, if you like what you've seen, and
Handball was really good fun. It's a little bit like netball and basketball, however with less restrictions, so you can really go for it. As it's so similar to a number of different sports, I found it really easy to get started with. And it's something I'm surprised they don't play more in the UK. You can't go inside the D, so your defence will form a ring around the edge. Therefore, the attack will be passing the ball backwards and forwards between them and looking to open up a hole in the opposition before ploughing through and scoring a goal.
Well, what a pleasure it is to be joined by Jack Oliphant on co-comms today. He's really been treating us to a real in-depth insight, former junior GB player, of course, and myself, Ian Waterhouse from Live Sport Now. Don't forget, you can check out all of our live sport in 2022. Our YouTube channel is called Live Sport Now. There's a link in the body of this broadcast. It'll take you straight through to Live Sport Now. Do give it a click. Do hit subscribe as well. We broadcast live handball, as you can see, live golf, live motorsport as well, and we want you to be a part of the action. Now, hello to everybody. We are broadcasting on Facebook, of course, YouTube, Twitter at Ian Waterhouse 1 if you're a tweeter, or on Twitch as well at Live Sport Now, and my LinkedIn too, Ian Waterhouse. So we've got just over 3 minutes of half time left. Second half, can they pull it back, Jack? That's the golden question.
Well, I think GD, they showed up their defence as well halfway through that half, moving from a 3-3 defensive formation to sort of more of a 5-1, maybe 3-2-1, where they felt like they could be aggressive when Eagles were a man down, or a player down, I should say, sorry. But they looked pretty in control. They looked like they had a potential answer to everything Eagles threw at them. And when Eagles did throw everything at them, they had those turnovers and they had those fast breaks that they could really pull out, and they clearly had the legs. I think it's going to be crucial that in the last 10 minutes of this half, that fitness stays at the highest level. But we've seen so far, I mentioned it right at the beginning, 16 players for each team means that you can rotate freely in handball. If anybody I'm not entirely sure what that VT says because we don't have sound, but if it doesn't say this, then I'll say it. If it does, then it's a repeat it. Very well. Effectively, you can freely rotate your subs in handball, a bit like ice hockey, I suppose, or something like that, as long as the substitution takes part near-ish the centre line. Then you can rotate people on and off, and you actually get defensive specialists. So normally everybody attacks, everybody defends, but if you've got a really good defender who's maybe not that mobile in attack, but he's a really standout defensive player, you can actually bring them on for defensive movements and formations, and that can really win a lot of teams, a lot of games. So that helps with the fitness, it helps with the freshness, it helps with the ferocity of the game, and it's why from the first minute you see them playing just as hard as you would expect them in the 50th.
Right, you've got to take a deep breath, Jack, because in a minute and a half we're going to do it all again. It's going to be the second half between West London Eagles and London GD. It is the Women's Premier Handball League. Yeah, Lane put it together. Right, welcome back. The buzzer just went for the 1 minute buzzer, and it's almost time for the second half to get underway. Can West London Eagles pull it back? They're one place above London GD in the table with a game in hand as well. However, as we can see so far, London GD are going to leapfrog them. We're just approaching the second part of the season, aren't we, really? It's all to play for this season, and as you can see right now, just coming back onto the court are the West London Eagles, the home side. West London Eagles in blue, London GD in red, for those of you just tuning in.
I was a bit worried actually that West London Eagles wouldn't turn up in time to see the buzzer, but of course, if they're 30 seconds late, no one really minds. It's not like football where BT Sport or Sky Sports will come and shout at them or fine them. So it's whenever we're ready, we will get going. The 10-minute marker, the whistle goes from Nicholas, the lead referee, and you can see the players now gathering in little huddles. Last word or two of encouragement, and if we listen carefully, probably a big shout as well. I was hoping the timing would work out there. There we go.
There you go. Well done, Jack. Not too bad. Not too
about
off.
5 seconds off, but we'll get there, won't we?
And of course, like in most sports, they have SWAT 10s, haven't they?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So they have SWAT sides, which, as you say, is standard in most of the sports. You mentioned about the league positions before as well. West London Eagles, obviously, in third place at the moment, but with that game in hand. So GD, if it stayed like this, say the game finished right now, GD would go ahead of them, but West London Eagles will still have that game in hand.
Yes. It's a tight league table, isn't it? Because this is only the Eagles' fourth game of the season. It's only London GD's fifth game of the season. There's still a long way to go. Of course, there's only 5 teams in the Women's Premier Handball League division, though, isn't there?
Yeah, so it's a bit of a shame that it's a sort of slightly smaller division than maybe we saw in the past, but I think COVID sort of riddled, unfortunately, and stripped some teams of players and X, Y and Z. So yeah, many factors, but we're back underway. Score 18-11 to GD, now shooting from left to right, as you see on our camera, and we see from our gantry.
And Eagles take possession back again, don't they? They could do with a quick start here just to get within touching distance again of London GD. They can't let this slip away any time now, can they? Because the game will just drift away very quickly unless they get a quick start.
Yeah, but the problem is if you start forcing it within the first 5 minutes of the second half, the game could really go wrong for them. They could go down to a 10-goal difference, and all of a sudden you're pretty much fighting a lost battle, not even a losing battle for the next 20. So trying to play a game here, play a move. GD have gone for that offensive 3-3 defensive formation. Sounds strange to say, but trust me, it's how it works like that. And you can see that everything West London Eagles are doing is outside of the 9-metre line. They can't get a shot anywhere near 9 metres because GD's defence has been so strong. They're going into 9 metres, it bounces free to the number 6, but there's a charging foul. And it is turned over by GD. Aggressive defence really coming on song for them.
It's been a bit of a defensive masterclass from London GD, hasn't it? It really has. This is how you do it. any of the other teams watching and want to pick up a few tips, here you go.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, West London Eagles, with those players that they were missing, I think they got 3 or 4 2-minute suspensions in that first half. Still did well to score as many as they did, but defensively they were very leaky. And that's what they'll be hoping to catch up on. Ball goes to the right back. Big tackle there from West London Eagles. Good pass to the left wing, that cross-court pass. Always a favourite of mine, to be honest. My players hated it because they got red quite easily after one attempt.
It was a great spot, wasn't it?
But it was a fantastic spot. If you can get it working, it can really do well for you. Unfortunately, it didn't work well there.
So 2 minutes into the second half, no score yet so far in this second half. It's West London Eagles 11, London GD 18. This will suit London GD quite nicely.
Yeah, they're still not settling on their laurels, are they? As I said, everything's being played at, I wouldn't even say 12 metres right now. It's more like 13 metres for West London Eagles. If anybody's wondering what I mean by the 3-3 defensive formation, it means 3 players quite far back on the 6-metre line and 3 players quite high up towards that 9-metre or even higher, putting pressure on that backcourt of Eagles. And that's the sort of formation you would play if you know the opposition, their backcourt players are really their threat. Oh, there's a wide open gap through the middle and there's a shove, and I thought, ooh, maybe there's a little bit of a touch and go for a 2-minute suspension.
Oh, they went down hard, but I tell you, they're straight back up again, aren't they? No messing.
Oh, no messing about here. It's you want to get straight up and get on with the game and score as many goals as you want. It's an ambitious pass. There's a fast break on potentially for Eagles if they can move the ball as quickly as they want. GD quick to get back, and there's potential travel there, but it's a good steal by the number 4.
Surely.
A block from the right wing, but a block from the goalkeeper. Great save there. GD's goalkeeper has really been flying.
Woman of the match for me so far. I don't know if there is such a thing in handball, but certainly a big player so far. Number 3 coming off for London GD. Number 7 now on the court. So a quick change there.
I suppose there isn't normally in English handball a sort of player of the match, but we can make one because obviously normally it's the TV cameras that do it.
There's going to be now. I don't have a bottle of champagne or anything to give.
We can get a bottle of water.
I've got a bottle of water. I'd probably prefer that actually. Yeah. I do have some digestive biscuits if they want.
Oh, it's a good windmill. Digestive biscuits spurring these West London Eagles players on. And there's a foul there, but crucially, the defender wasn't in the area, so it may have looked like a penalty if there was a half a foot in.
We're 4 minutes into this second half and still no score yet. Quite incredible, really. I think it was about 4-4 by this time in the first half.
I think that just goes to show that they're warming up, but there's a goal, as you say, Ian. Good, and it's the first one is scored by West London Eagles, which will give them a big boost of confidence.
Too, didn't they?
Yeah, they definitely did. GD, they'll be pretty calm, don't get me wrong. There's still a 6-goal gap pretty much, but it's just something for Eagles to hold on to. So as GD start winding up the move, West London Eagles coming off their 6-metre line to try and get that pressure. It's a good save, no foul given. There's a big foul though, and we could be in trouble here. There's a 2-minute suspension for the 20 GD player.
It's
Francesca Graham.
Yeah, number 12. I have to say that kind of resembled a wrestling move, didn't it? But that is the physical nature of the game, and there you go. It's going to pay the price for that.
It's putting everything on the line to stop that fast break, isn't it? Which obviously would be a big goal for Eagles.
The counter-attack's such a valuable weapon in this sport. I'm no expert. From what I've seen from the first half, the quicker you can counter-attack, you catch your opponent off guard very quick.
I think all you need to do is watch about the first 4 minutes of this game to realise that, isn't it? It's so
I think so.
bad.
Yes.
Oh, there's no need to be taking the bounce there, unfortunately, and giving the ball away so easily and cheaply against a team that is a player down is the last thing Eagles wanted to do. They need to make this 2 minutes count. Realistically, if I was Eagles coach Paul Walsher, I'd be looking at 3 goals just in this 2-minute period alone.
Yeah, they need to make a move, don't they? Paul Dempsey, sorry, the Eagles coach
Dempsey,
there.
not Paul Walsh, sorry, yes.
He's certainly rallied his troops for this second half. And it's another goal for GD. They just keep plugging away, don't they? They are a very impressive outfit indeed.
Yeah, the West London Eagles, they can't take advantage of the quick restart either. And that's really unfortunate for Eagles. Right when they needed their goalkeeper, unfortunately just went missing for that one attack. After being so well drilled throughout the rest of this match, and there's a long shot there. The bounce has misled Royer in goal, who's had a brilliant game, but sometimes that bounce shot can really do justice. And yeah, it looks a little bit slow, looks easy on the cameras, but trust me, if you're in goal, that's a very difficult shot to stop.
Absolutely. They've just edged it in defence, haven't they? They've had a keeper that's absolutely on fire, and they've been quicker on the account to attack London GD, and that's made the difference so far. But Eagles are still in this game.
Good move from GD there, and that's a huge...
My word, it is starting to heat up in the second half, isn't it? It really is. We've seen quite a few physical tackles so far.
Yeah, there's desperation there by Eagles. And it's led obviously to that 2 minutes that you mentioned. Desperation, unfortunately. Too big a gap left open from that right back position. A good cross from GD, trying to exploit that. The winger didn't come over to help out on the defence either.
So number 11 for West London Eagles on the sideline for 2 minutes here. It's a penalty to London GD. Oh, no, what a save. What a great save. Firm hand there.
Yeah, and that was interesting because it's a change in penalty taker. Normally it's Samura, the number 23, but actually just then it was Tanya Corti.
And number 23 is on the pitch as well. She's on the court.
Yeah, and even if they're not on the court, quite often if you have a penalty taker who you trust, you will bring them on just to take the penalty in handball. That's a good run through the centre. Oh, and a 2 minute suspension.
2 minutes, wow.
And that's a shame because GD had just got the number 20 back on as well from that suspension, so now we're pretty much even. There's no advantage either way. Both teams have a suspension.
It's getting very fiery this second half, isn't it? It really is. Quite a few penalties going on so far. We are 6 minutes 47 seconds into this second half. It's 30 minutes, of course, each way. It is West London Eagles 13 and London GD 19, but it's the Eagles on the attack, number 4, and it's a great goal, and it's 14-19 now. The Eagles starting to peg them back a little bit. It's game on, Jack.
It is, and it's a good goal that well worked by Eagles, moving that sort of quick ball to the right wing and then seeing that the gap is still there for the right back, almost playing as a fake line player, just so close to the 6 metres, and the gaps are there for everybody to exploit, including GD. Oh, there could be a dangerous manoeuvre here, but it's still a goal. It's a great finish.
Great goal.
Great finish by the 33, Ferrando, after spinning I was going to say right winger, West London Eagles right winger.
Every time you say Ricelet, there should be a forfeit, I think, Jack.
I feel like I should donate a digestive every single time.
I think you should, yeah. So the player of the match gets the amount of digestives to the amount of times you said Ricelet instead of West London.
But yeah, that was obviously great play by Great Dane, and didn't quite happen there. And I think the player maybe feels a little bit aggrieved. That's number 17, Tishama, unfortunately feeling a little bit aggrieved that that's a penalty. It felt like the player was maybe already on the way down by the time she went past her. Penalty for number 4, and it's put away by Maddie Edwards. West London Eagles, as you mentioned, inching their way back. I think there was about an 7-goal difference at half-time, and there's an interesting attempt at a steal there by the Eagles players coming back on from a suspension, has timed itself out. 7 goals at half-time, 8 minutes in, or 8.5 minutes in. It's a 5-goal difference. It's
all to play for here at Gunnersbury Park Sports Hub here. It's the Women's Premier Handball League. It's the clash in the capital. It's London GD on the attack in the red, and they make it count as well. It's West London Eagles in the blue, 15. London GD in red, 21.
I have missed this sport, you don't know, Ian. It's amazing, really. I thought I was satisfied with motorsport and football and everything, but then you actually come to watch a high-level game of handball, and it's just brilliant, isn't it? Looks like Eagles back up to full strength, and if I count, so is GD.
Sorry, Joe, I just take it that goal was disallowed, was it? Because there's no change to the scoreboard. It's still 15-20.
I think it was allowed.
I thought it was allowed too, but according to the scoreboard, it's 15-20. So we'll go with what the officials say.
And
it's
that one's going to be allowed.
To West London Eagles, we can tell you that. Definitely 16 to West London Eagles now. Oh, and it has changed, yes.
Yeah,
it has changed.
Maybe they can hear us. Yeah, they might be watching the feed down there. But yeah, that's a great goal there by West London Eagles to keep that gap at 5 in the end, not claw one back.
Yeah, just to confirm to everybody, it is West London Eagles 16, London GD 21.
And 20 minutes to go as well. We're about to tick over the 40-minute mark in the game, and of course there's 60 minutes in a handball game.
Oh, what a manoeuvre that was.
And yeah,
just couldn't get the ball away though.
No, good defence really. The defender didn't really have to do anything apart from potentially try and touch the ball. That's exactly what they did. West London Eagles moving the ball quickly, and there could be a penalty, and there is. If the ball had gone in the net, it would have been fine, but the penalty's been given for defending in the area. Really good.
Oh, it's a
push
big opportunity now then for the Eagles. They can get this gap down to 4 if they can convert here. Number 4 looking to drop the gap down to 4, and she makes it as well.
Maddie Edwards with the acrobatic penalty there, doing really well to try and open the gap up as much as possible on that left-hand side. And a really good run as well. Big shout out to Anna Meyer even, pushing their way through the centre of that court against the GD defence. Really impressive. So all of a sudden, with 7 goals at half-time, it's whittled down to 4.
London GD on the attack again, trying to get through the middle. Wonderful manoeuvre, but it looks like there's been a foul there.
Yeah, there was a foul, and GD are actually slightly annoyed about it because they could have played the advantage. They kept manoeuvring the ball, recycling the ball. If the ball keeps moving, there's no real need to stop the play. And obviously, GD a bit aggrieved there, forcing the ball to the winger. It's come out to the right back. Oh, a foul given by Nicholas there, the referee. GD will be happy with that one
now as well, isn't it? As the game is starting to tick away, under 20 minutes now of this second half of this game left. It is the Women's Premier Handball League, and look at it, it is really getting quite dicey out there. There's players all over the court, on the floor. My word, this is going to be an exciting final. What have we got? 18.5 minutes left.
Yeah, it was brilliant play by the line player at GD as well, barging the right back defender out. Big shot here as the passive play went up by the referees, saved by the goalkeeper, and Eagles slow it down, and hopefully slow it down long enough to explain maybe what passive play is. It's essentially a shot clock, but unlike basketball, it's not 90 seconds set. It's up to the discretion of the referees. If you think you're not attacking or you've had the ball too long, they can play it. It's basically to stop time wasting. Number 6 goes through and puts it through the legs of the goalkeeper. The Gantry is going wild, so is the bench of West London Eagles.
The gap down to 3, and the Eagles are starting to soar high in this game.
Oh, I tell you what, listen to that reaction from West London Eagles as well. They're buzzing for this one. 3-goal difference. It was 7 at half time, and there is still 15 minutes to go. Sorry, I can't speak too close to the mic.
Okay.
Yeah, good. We just covering this today. It's a bit of an experiment. Hope to do that.
They did a really good job.
Right, so we are in a timeout right now. 40 seconds in so far. Second half, very exciting indeed, isn't it? The game is really on a knife edge now. It's West London Eagles 18, London GD 21. Just 3 points in it. At one point at half time, London GD had a 7-point lead. And it's now the Eagles who probably have the momentum, would you say, Jack?
Oh yeah, I think you can definitely tell when a team has got momentum behind them, because the opposition tends to be the one that calls that timeout, especially at such an important part of the game with nearly 15 minutes to go. GD has seen their lead whittled away, and the last thing they want to do is let Eagles just run away with this now, get up to level points. GD, they'll change their tactics. I wouldn't be surprised to see them go back down to a 5-1 defence. We saw them with a 3-3 aggressive defence. I wouldn't be surprised if they just try and shore up this 3-goal lead.
The danger at half-time was that the game could run away from the Eagles, but they've really shown some spirit. I wonder what, I'd love to know what Paul Dempsey said, the Eagles head coach, at half-time to inspire this fight back, because this game is on.
It absolutely is, and it's really well controlled as well, it has to be said, by the 14 who's just about to receive the ball here from Eagles. Normally playing in centre, they're obviously going to have some kind of trigger movement to try and get it back into the centre, but there's a huge hit there. And I think Edwards just complaining that maybe a little bit of face, a bit of a high tackle. Everything just calms down, just to such good defence by GD. They move the ball, there's space on the right wing, and it's a great goal as well, leading over from the right wing with the right hand. That's number 4, Maddie Edwards, penalty specialist, clearly can do it in open play as well.
I'll tell you something, Gunnersbury Park Sports Hub right now is erupting here, and we still have, what, 16 minutes, just over 16 minutes of the second half to go.
Penalty given to GD there, unfortunately, for West London Eagles' perspective anyway. That sort of seemed to have dimmed the crowd somewhat. Main reason, 23 GD threw on goal, went to take the shot, and pulled the shooting arm back whilst in the action of shooting. So
get your messages of supporting for both of these teams. And what an incredible save. What a time to make it, but she's got it back. And saved it again. An incredible double save by the Eagles keeper. Wow, this could be a huge turning point in the match.
Yeah, that could be momentous. Anessa Begum keeping the team in it as they throw the ball away after all the hard work.
Oh, they've just...
Could see a double dribble there. No, actually, she does well to hold on to the ball. But that, as you said, a huge save, and then the rebound going to the player, but unfortunately, being in the 6 metre line, gives the ball back to the keeper. GD back on the attack though. Number 3 right back here, dropping the pass in, line player trying to get there. It's a goalkeeper's ball, and West London Eagles defence has just been, well, it's been like a different team here in the second half. They tried to force the ball, there's still space on this left-hand side, but they throw it away.
Oh, GD get the ball back. It's a thrilling game, this really is.
Great movement to the left wing, it should be a goal, but it isn't.
My word.
That's the number 23 GD, their normal left winger, Nicholas Zamora, who obviously was on penalties for such a long time in this game. Just not quite hooking it off at the moment.
19-21 in favour of London GD, but don't forget at half time London GD had a 7-goal advantage. It's been dropped down to quite the finish. We're halfway through the second half. There's 15 minutes of this Women's Premier Handball League game left.
At the moment, the player that I'm most impressed with sort of dictating the play and coming back in the second half is the number 24, the centre, Kira Bolzer. They're very reliant on previous games that they've actually had. And by the looks of it, they're reliant on her today because her match control has been superb. And yet again, she manoeuvres the space, manoeuvres the players to open up that space for the number 10 of Anna Meyer, and everything is going through Bolts at the moment.
I can't remember the last time London GD scored. It's been a while, hasn't it? The Eagles have piled on the pressure. They are soaring high, sky high right now. It's the West London Eagles 20, London GD 21, with 14 minutes of this game left to go. It is wide open. I can't call it, Jack, and I daren't.
No, I think GD, what I've noticed as well with their attacking play in this second half, is they're turning the ball over because they're forcing it to the line. And it's something that, as a kid, a lot of people do. When you're starting to play handball, the easiest shot in the court is if you get it to the line player. But it's so hard to get it to that line player. And Eagles' defence has been so on point in the middle of the park so far. They've found it really difficult. Here comes Bolts. Tries to go for that bounce shot. And it looks like GD recover it. They go for the fast break over the top. Great defence!
Great interception. What an interception by the Eagles there. Wonderful defensive work.
Maria Laurie Savvy, sorry, even with that defensive manoeuvre. Bolts are going for that fake. Number 10 getting that shot, it's bounced in. Anna Meyer, yet again, coming in with the big shot, big points, and a big sway in this match. Tell you what, Ian, it's a big moment. 21-all.
21-all. Remember, at half-time, London GD had a 7-point lead. If you're watching this back, any London GD fans, players, I do apologise for going on about it, but it's been a dramatic game so far. It's been a wonderful advert for the sport of handball. Why do we not see more of it? Because if this is the action, my word, this is one of the best sports I've ever seen in my life. And London GD take the lead again. It's 21-22. Could this be the moment that GD get a bit of momentum back?
I'm going to claim that they're hearing me down there, Ian, because at that time they didn't force the ball. They manoeuvred it in the fast-flowing nature that we're used to seeing. Moving the ball, moving the players, opening that space up, and they get through, they make it count as well. 22-21, that'll be big for GD because it just gives them that sniff that they can still do this.
Yes, absolutely. I think there's a danger of a collapse, isn't there? But perhaps they've just halted that slide a little bit. The game's just slowing down just a little bit now as Eagles try and find a gap. Number 23 gets through and again ties it 22-all. This is fascinating, Jack.
Yeah, I mean, that was so hard. It genuinely made me fall backwards because that was a brilliant goal. I love it when you just see a standing shot like that, just charging up and dispatched into the top corner. However good Royer has been in the GD goal, can't stop those sort of shots. So as GD try and wind it all back up, there's another forced pass to the line. doesn't come off yet again, and there's so much space if they just move the ball and use the back players and the wingers instead of the line player. There's so much space for GD, but they can't seem to access it right now.
It looks like the Eagles are quite happy just to slow the pace down a little bit, aren't they? And just maybe think their way into this game, because the belief now must be there that they can get this done now. They are the home team, of course. They are third in the league. London GD currently in fourth. It's a 5-league team, the Women's Premier Handball League, number 10. Oh!
It's a charging foul anyway. Good save though, which will give them a little bit of momentum.
And I'll tell you, full credit to the London GD keeper. She, so far for me, has actually been the woman of the match. Are you allowed to say that? Do you have to say person of the match?
Player of the match is probably the easiest thing to say.
We'll go with that. I don't want to upset anyone.
No, I mean, you're absolutely right. In terms of GD's performance, they definitely have been the goalkeeper. In terms of the overall match and how it's swayed back in the impact, I'd have to be saying Bolzer right now for West London Eagles, and 24 in the centre of their attack and centre of their play, really.
GD on the attack. Can they take the lead again? They have led by 7 goals at one point in this game, but the Eagles have pegged them back and they take the lead again. It's 22-23. And
again, opportunities for opening the gaps of this West London Eagles side. They're not impenetrable. We've seen that in the first half of this match. There's gaps to be exploited, and GD just need to. It sounds easy to say, just do it more often, but they just need to stop forcing it to the line. I think we've seen. I would probably have a gander a guess at 7 turnovers for just forcing it to the line, and with this injury, this will slow the game down just a touch. And what we'll probably see, Ian, is probably a fresh game for 10 minutes, 1 goal in it, leading GD. But we do have a player down, unfortunately, in the penalty area following that goal, and it is a GD player. We see quite a few people just giving their opinions and obviously trying to help out on the first aid front. Hopefully nothing too serious.
Hopefully not, yeah. 10 minutes, just over 10 minutes left to go of this second half. It's on a knife edge, isn't it? 22 to the West London Eagles, 23 to London GD. Jack, I'm going to ask for your prediction. Who's going to win this one?
You want to put me on the spot like that?
Absolutely. You know me. I have no morals or anything.
I think this slowdown in play, this pause in play, will only benefit GD, even if it is their player who's injured. They get a chance to reset. What I'm really surprised is they're not going in for a team huddle to try and get those last instructions. I think it is because their player is the one injured, who looks to be being carried off somewhat.
Yes, it looks quite, let's hope she's, she's obviously, she's up, she's okay, but let's hope it's nothing more than just a pulled muscle or something.
Yeah, getting the rice going. I don't mean the food, I mean the process
ice compression elevation.
There we go, the process of first aid. And yeah, as I said, I think that'll benefit GD, that break, because it gives them a breather. It just quietens down the Eagles' support, which I'm sure they'll try and get going again. In fact, as I say that, the decibel meter is already starting to rise.
It's fantastic. What a wonderful atmosphere it is. If you've never watched handball live and you live close to a local team, you've got to get yourself down, because it is absolutely thrilling. What a way to spend a Saturday afternoon. And I'm delighted to say we've still got the men's game to bring you later this afternoon as well. The throw-off for that is at 4:30. But before we come to that, we've still got 10 minutes of this Women's Premier Handball League clash between the West London Eagles and London GD. And there's only one in it. Oh, my word. And it bounces off the post. Incredible. That was to tie the game. But it's still West London Eagles 22, London GD 23. And GD with the ball.
Some people might have thought that was a little bit rushed. They didn't need to take the shot like that. But the referees had their hand up, signalling passive play. Which, like I said, is basically like a shot clock. You get 6 passes. As soon as that arm goes up and there's a charge through, not a penalty there, no active shooting, so it's just a normal 9-metre free throw. GD wind it up again. The signal from the centre initiating that trigger movement. It's a big shot from 8 metres. It bounces back out to the right winger. Foul. GD hold on to the ball.
Crucial moment, 9 minutes of this game to go. What a thrilling second half it's been. What a thrilling game it's been. And it's GD in red, Eagles in blue. Eagles the home side. And Eagles take the ball, but I believe a foul.
Yeah, so just a little bit too physical and trying to get the ball back when it was loose there. And again, GD coming back inside to try and force Eagles into a problem here. But to be honest, Eagles have had a response in this attack, in this phase of play, and it's back to passive play. You can see the referee's arms are up. That means they'll have 6 passes.
The defence has been very staunch, hasn't it? Perhaps struggled a little bit in the first half to cope with London GD, but it's a different team almost in the second half.
And there's the save. So the passive play meant the shot had to come from somewhere, otherwise they would just turn the ball over anyway. And as I said, that save from the Eagles goalkeeper means they turn the ball over. Still 1 in it.
And it's Eagles on the attack. Can they tie the game at the minute? 23 all. It's 22, 23 at the minute. GD retain or get the ball back.
Yeah, poor unforced error there, unfortunately, by Meyer, who's been so good in this second half, and one of the big reasons why Eagles are back in this game to start with. 7.5 minutes to go, still 1-1. We haven't had a goal since that break in play. West London Eagles again throwing a lot of players at that sort of central zone, trying to churn the ball to turn over. Great Dane orchestrating something here. They need to orchestrate another goal, really.
You are listening to the voice of Jack Oliphant, former junior GB handball player. The knowledge is exceptional. What a treat it's been having him here today. A fountain of knowledge. I'm delighted he's here. Don't forget you can watch all of our live sport on Live Sport now on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. We're also broadcasting on Twitter at Ian Wardhouse1 and LinkedIn Ian Wardhouse. Can the Eagles tie it? And they can. It's 23-all. What a turn and goal. Wow.
Yeah, and that's what you need. You need a spark. You need a touch of inspiration sometimes to break down a staunch defence. And that's exactly what we saw the right winger do there for West London Eagles.
That's
another digestive goal. And there's Maria Laura Seri with a really good no-look pass to the line player, who unfortunately I didn't actually catch the number of, but a great goal, and that makes it 23-all, 6.5 minutes to go.
6.5 minutes to go. If you are just tuning in, London GD in red with the ball, West London Eagles in blue. At half-time, London GD had a 7-goal lead. The Eagles have wiped it out.
Good movement from GD, but it's an even better save.
Inspirational by the keeper here for the Eagles. She has been sensational this second half.
The 2 keepers have been brilliant all game, but really it is, they're swapping it around really. The GD keeper sensational in the first half. The Eagles keeper as good in the second half really, and has been as important to both of these teams as well.
The clock is ticking, Jacks. Under 6 minutes of this game left to go, and I just cannot call it. It looks like momentum is slightly with the Eagles, although GD have the ball, and GD are going to get it back again as well. They're going to keep hold of it.
Yeah, I think number 15 for Eagles needs to get back into position sooner rather than later, but actually the 23 for Great Dane did a really good job to even get the ball away and the shot away to start with. It's difficult with no momentum on the line like that. They work it to the right wing. And it is a goal this time, it's squeezed in.
Wonderful goal there.
It was indeed, and that was by the number 10 of Maria Tran. The GD, I think the first goal of the day. 1 goal in, it's pretty much nothing in terms of a handball scoreline.
Well, it's incredibly tight. What a match-up this is. We've chosen a wonderful game to come and broadcast live, haven't we? Live handball for you here. It's the Women's Premier Handball League, the elite league in the United Kingdom. Fantastic stuff.
And hopefully many more to come in, obviously. I think this is a pretty good advert that this sport needs to be broadcasted going forward.
More people need to be playing this sport because look at it, it is sensational, isn't it?
Movement there, an aggressive defence there for the...
I
Great
heard
Dane.
the contact there as well, Jack. I heard that thump as they banged shoulders together.
Big here, Ian. There is a sending. There's a 2-minute suspension for the number 33 of GD. That's Fatima Ferrando.
And there's only 4.5 minutes left to go.
Yeah, so half of this game is pretty much going to be played 6 against 5 in terms of outfield players, of course.
It's Eagles with the ball as well. If they score this, they'll have a big advantage, won't they? They'll have that player advantage, and they'll be tied if they can convert this attack.
There we go. There's the space. Bolzer finds it.
Great save. Trying to get that tight angle again. They've tried that quite a few times today.
Well, with a player down, essentially, you want the shots to be coming from the wing. You want it to be from the right wing. It's exactly where it went from then. So GD, with that aggressive player in the centre as well, cutting off any backcourt passes and any flow, was the reason why they turned the ball over, really, there. Obviously, it helps if the player steps in the area. GD. They don't just have to defend with a player down, they also have to attack. And I think the idea here for GD is the fact that just to take the fouls and run the clock down as much as they can. Passive play will go up if they're not doing it with enough intent. There we go, passive play now pings up. They get 6 passes once the referee takes that on, and this could be another 2 minutes, and we're equal.
Oh, is that crucial? Is that crucial? We've got 3.5 minutes left to go. It's 23 to West London Eagles, 24 to London GD. London GD in the red, Eagles in the blue. Both players have dropped a member of their team on a penalty, so could that prove quite crucial? If GD get a goal here, it could be a very defining moment in this game.
Yeah, West London Eagles, they didn't take advantage of having the player up. GD will have a full minute with an extra player on the court as well when their player comes back on.
It changes so quick, doesn't it?
Great save. It was a fantastic step by the GD right winger, but it's going to be a penalty as they were fouled in the action of shooting. You need to take a breath, don't you? I can't believe how breathless this makes you.
Jack, you can have a rest soon. In just over 3 minutes, you can have a little rest before, of course, we bring you the men's game as well. It's a penalty to GD, and it's a wonderful save. That is a huge moment. That is a huge moment. Stops GD from getting a 2-shot lead. Well, 2-goal lead. I'm referring back to golf now. With 2.5 minutes left to go. My word, this really, really is tight. Eagles with the ball.
Yeah, right when the team needed, there's a timeout called by West London Eagles. And we can just decompress what we've seen here as well. We've seen 2 in the last 5 minutes. We've seen 2 suspensions. Ian, we've also seen a penalty save. The noise has risen, but that's a huge penalty save, and the timing of the game as well, wasn't it? Because GD will get their extra player back pretty much now. And if they'd scored that goal, they'd have had the extra player and the extra goal on them.
It's amazing how quickly it changes, isn't it? As you said, yes, things were looking very good for the Eagles. At half-time, it wasn't looking so good, was it? London GD with a 7-goal lead at the break. The Eagles pegged them back. And we have, just over 2 minutes left on the clock. This is going to be a grandstand finish. Do not go anywhere. Remember, get your comments in below. We can see the comments, show your messages of support. We hope you've enjoyed watching live handball as well. It is the Women's Premier Handball League live here between the West London Eagles and London GD. GD, of course, stand for Great Dane. Used to be the Great Dane Handball Club. Changed their name to London GD in 2010. And as you've mentioned once or twice throughout this broadcast as well, West London Eagles used to be the Ruislip Eagles, changed their name in October 2016.
You're being kind to me saying once or twice there. I think I owe you 3 packs of biscuits right now.
Absolutely not, Jack. I think we owe you quite a lot for coming on board today. It's been a real pleasure to have you alongside me. You've really made me realise how much I've enjoyed this game. It is absolutely fascinating. Eagles on the move.
Bolton with the shot, and that's huge! Straight through the legs of Royer in goal. And apologies if you hear me shouting, I'm not sure how much the microphone can pick up, but the fans are going crazy up here in the gantry. That could be a big goal. Bolton makes it 24-all, 2 minutes to go. GD back to full strength. West London Eagles still a player down as GD try and wind up, find a space, left wing shot. Great save!
Again, this keeper has been inspired in this second half.
But there's a foul, there's a 2-minute suspension yet again for Eagles as their left winger went to move across. It's a difficult one to talk about and not show you in a replay or something like that, but it's going to be another penalty and a suspension for Eagles. I'll tell you about why in a second if I get a breath. GD with the penalty.
Moment. Wonderful goal there, wonderful penalty. They've been quite ruthless with the penalties there, London GD, converting them very well indeed. It's 24-25.
Yeah, a minute and a half to go. Goalkeeper can't be blamed for that one. She's made some absolutely sensational saves and kept Eagles in this a lot of the time while they've been going full on to try and get back in this game. It looks like they're back up to 5 now. They were 2 players down, of course, and there's a run into the penalty spot, into the penalty area. You couldn't see it maybe on the cameras. I only just caught out the corner of my eye, but basically an attacking player, the left wing for Eagles, went to go as a second line, but went through the area doing so, which means the ball gets turned over. We've got a minute to go, Ian. GD a goal up and have the ball in their hands. They're also a player up, which could be even more crucial when we come to the end because Eagles can't go aggressive on their defence.
45 seconds on the clock here.
Oh, and that's a timeout. Yeah, so that's a timeout. That just resets everything for GD. It's GD's timeout, and everyone's gone silent, I think, waiting for someone to explain it.
Thrilling stuff. We have, 45 seconds or so, perhaps even slightly less, left on the clock. There is 1 goal in it now. I wasn't too sure what to expect, but I wasn't expecting a grandstand finish like this, Jack.
No, I think the reason why GD will have pulled that timeout right then is, one, they had it to use, so why not? Two, just to calm everyone down and keep hold of the ball. The problem with West London Eagles have right now is the fact that they're a player down. They can't go gung-ho and rush the attack and rush the defence because they are a player down. It'll be too easy for GD just to run through and score that extra goal. So they're in a real predicament right now. The best that they can really hope for is a draw. And GD, all they need to do is orchestrate one attack. They've got 45 seconds, hold on to the ball and shoot in the last 5 seconds of this match.
Just to remind you how exciting this was the half-time score. Jack, it was West London Eagles 11, London GD 18. That has been the difference in the second half. Quite incredible. Eagles have come alive in this second half.
So it looks like, I'm not sure if that's passive play. It is passive play already, actually. So GD have to shoot within 6 passes. And that will take less than 45 seconds, I can tell you. There's a bit of sloppy play, not double dribble, is it not? It's not double dribble, according to the referees. There we go, we've given it.
Massive. 30 seconds on the clock. Eagles with the ball. They need to score. They really need to score here.
Bolter turns, there's room on the right wing, but it's gone left. Number 10, there was space. There just wasn't enough speed, and there's more space on the left back. Left back gets it in, it's a huge goal.
15 seconds on the clock, and they've just tied the game.
15 seconds, GD go back to start. It wasn't through the centre, but the referees let it go. There's a good pass to the left wing. 5 seconds left, and it's a save.
Huge save, and that is time. My word, incredible stuff.
West London Eagles storm the field, and I know why. I'm getting goosebumps. I can't imagine. It's only a draw, but a draw from 7 goals down at half-time. It feels like a victory. Huge game. Huge half. And in terms of championship and league tables, everyone will be watching that. Everyone will start getting excited.
I'm going to run down very quickly, see if I can't grab a word with 1 or 2 of the players just before we break this broadcast off. So just bear with me as I make my way down. Let's just come on over here now. I just want to grab a word with the keeper if I can. Actually, in fact, we've got Paul. Paul, that was some game, wasn't it? What did you say at half-time to inspire that?
Just basically to up our levels that I know that we can compete to. I felt they were extremely passive in the first section, so we elevated the amount of intensity towards the game and added a lot more movement to the game, and I felt that actually overcome the pressure that we were being applied to in the offensive defence. So not a bad job.
I better let you get in there as well, Luke. Sorry, there you go. Sorry about that, girls. There we go. Team photo as well. We'll go grab London GD in a sec. I want to see if I can grab a quick word with the Eagles keeper though, because that was some second half, wasn't it? Let's just grab a quick word here. Here she is, it smiles all right. Sorry, congratulations by the way.
Oh,
second half, my word. What did you have? Did you have something to eat at half time? That was incredible, wasn't it? As we almost get here.
Yeah, I think the rhythm was a lot different.
Yeah.
So I had like 30 minutes to sort of get their rhythm and how they score. So I think I got it for the second half.
Congratulations, fantastic performance. I'm going to get out of the way here because I have a feeling I'm going to get hit in the face very shortly. I do want to grab a word with the London GD coach just before we get away here. Let's see if I can just have a quick word with him. Let's just pull him in very quickly. Just going to have a quick word. Sorry, very quick word with that. Look, it's still a draw, isn't it? Perhaps not quite what you're looking for at half time, but they just seem to get quite intense at the end of the Eagles.
Yeah, I think we lost a little bit our intensity in the second half. We did a very good first half. Obviously, they were stronger and they were more focused in the second half as they were down in the score.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think It's a new year. We're gonna improve for the next games because we know where we failed today. So just keep working and we'll get better.
It's a draw. You didn't lose.
No, exactly.
Congratulations. There you go. Wonderful stuff. Right, that rounds out the Women's Premier League clash here between the West London Eagles and London GD, and it's been an absolute cracker, hasn't it? 25-all. Just going to move out of the way because I'm probably about to get smacked again by a ball. That might be funny for you, but not for us. We're going to go to a short break now. When we come back, we're going to bring you the West London Eagles men against London GD men. If it's anything like what we've just seen with the women, it's going to be an absolute cracker. We'll see you soon.
Handball was really good fun. It's a little bit like netball and basketball, however with less restrictions, so you can really go for it. As it's so similar to a number of different sports, I found it really easy to get started with. And it's something I'm surprised they don't play more in the UK. You can't go inside the D, so your defence will form a ring around the edge. Therefore, the attack will be passing the ball backwards and forwards between them and looking to open up a hole in the opposition before ploughing through and scoring a goal.